Get into the agenda, and it revolves around the footy itself. It was a heightened stage, they're elevated stakes. We spoke about it all week, and the preliminary finals delivered, and we have cast in stone a champion pair for the grand final.
This is what they will talk about. Phenomenal! This is a big statement.
Here we go.
How big is that? Roll the replays every angle you got.
The sharpness of winning and losing just comes more to the fore when you get into the knockout stage, which it is now. The agony and the ecstasy.
Yeah, no, this is, it comes to an end real quick. It does.
I just looked back and saw my own emotion in every player, and so they're feeling the same pain that I am.
It's bloody hard to win, and it takes a long time to get back here.
Yeah, it's a pretty fair effort, isn't it, to get to 3 in a row? But we can't spend too much time patting ourselves on the back.
Is this as well prepared and well placed as you've been going into a grand final?
Yeah, I think that's right.
A great football weekend as 4 becomes 2. True greatness lasts from a club and a captain.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
The Cats are into another grand final on the back of a truly remarkable man, Patrick Dangerfield. It's a win for the ageless.
Well, we just feel like it's been working for a decent period of time now. So that gives us confidence that, we're going to be in pretty good shape to give it a real shake next week.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Too good. They've just been too good. Filipinski, hassled off it. The Great Dane for the finishing touch. They're going back for the 3rd year in a row. He loved it, and the coach loved it more.
Brisbane, they were down, they were out, but they've risen again. The back-to-back dream is still alive.
If you're playing a lot of finals and you get to a lot of grand finals, you have a lot of experiences along the way, and you learn how important moments are. Finals come down to moments. We had plenty of good ones tonight.
This magnificent football club have done it again. They're heading back to the last day in September.
The way the Lions have gone about their footy, got them a flag last year. They're not going to die wondering next week.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams.
True greatness lasts, Hutto said, and it's true of both of these two teams. Geelong and the Brisbane Lions, the billing for the 2025 grand final. Maybe Brisbane first, Gaz. So the heart of the champion. This is the train that weight can't stop. They are Burnborough, and they continue to go on.
Chris Fagan is an amazing man, Gerard, an amazing coach who was questioned not that long ago about whether he had what it took to take a team where it needs to go. No one's questioning him now. Their performance against a Collingwood side, and this is what so much to admire about them, but they jumped out of the blocks. Collingwood were rusty like Geelong were rusty early in the game. And you thought, gee, can they gather themselves? And they did. They kicked 6 unanswered goals in the second quarter. They took a 13-point lead with an emotional army groundswell behind them. And I tell you what, there was a lot of people going, it's going to be hard to turn that around, because Geelong, once they got on top, just kept rolling. They come out and kicked the 7 of the next 9 goals, Brisbane. 7 of the next 9 goals, and just put it to bed. So much to admire about them. I love how deep they are. I love how even they are. They're as good with their hands, and we'll have a look at what I'm talking about. So the Western Bulldogs were feted and lauded back when they won the grand final for how slick they were. This team's better by hand. They get themselves into tight situations, and we talk about their kicking and their willingness to take off the corridor kick and all that, and that is all true. But I haven't seen any team in recent time flick it around like this as well as this team do. And the thing about it is, I spoke to a colleague today about it, and we're just saying, gee, they're great. And he said, you know what? Sometimes they handball and you think, no, they've handballed to space. And the term he used is they just show up for each other.
Yes.
They just turn up for each other. In trouble here. No, we'll get out. Our hands are good enough to get us out of any situation. And they are very discerning. Look, I was going to kick, no, I'll handball. And then it's on. Then the chain. And if you're not part of this, then you've got to find a way to get part of it because you'll get used somewhere along the way. So add that to their precise kicking, their ability to take whatever's available, whether it's corridor or not. They were absolutely superb.
Their youth is absolutely startling.
Scary.
So, yeah, as you've got Will Ashcroft, who you've lauded there, and then you go to the 5-gamer Ty Gallop and the monstrous mark he took late in the piece, and he ends up kicking the seal out. And I quite like, Craig McRae sort of said in the afternoon, who's our Ty Gallop? There's a whole lot of teams will be asking themselves that question.
Well, and then you go, OK, he's played better than Eric did. And we know Eric had, obviously, in the end, he was playing with an ACL. So that was obviously hampering him. But he just is, they're better now. Well, that's not to put Eric down, but they're better with Ty Gallop playing the way he is. So, I loved it. I loved every single part about it. They were awesome.
The health update right throughout the week is brought to you by HBF Health Insurance. And we've got ourselves a proper race against time, as it were. So it felt like Lachie Neale's preposterous idea of coming back from a calf injury from the qualifying final for the grand final sort of felt initially like a way to stay engaged. There was sort of you do what you need to do, Lachie. And now it's a live proposition.
Well, Chris Fagan was being interviewed by Brownie and Lynchy in the rooms after the game, and he'd almost declared him. He said, no, he worked his backside off today, and he'd obviously asked the question, and the medicos are saying, yeah, no, we reckon he's a dead set chance. So you can, again, I say this all the time, we're guessing. Yeah, you can have your gut feel about it. My gut feel would be it's a massive risk, and I've got Pendlebury in the back of my mind, but their gut feel might be, we're not listening to you. We're playing one of the best players in the comp, and away we go.
So I presume there's a moment in the week where they go, OK, go out and either rip your calf or you'll play.
Well, I suspect they've already done it.
OK.
I would suspect that was what they were talking about on the weekend. It's no good leaving it till Thursday. So I heard him talk. He said, no, I pushed myself really hard. And in one of the interviews post-game, he said, I was sitting in the car after the training session, coming to the ground with the physio saying, what chance did you give me? He said, 1%. When he did it, and he said, what chance do you give me now? And he said, pretty damn good.
Yep.
So I suspect they've done that, and they'll wait to see how it pulls up, and oftentimes, he might get a bit niggling, a bit sore again, in which case the decision will be made, but not for now. Have a look at them. They're the biggest damn calves since Gary Ayres. They're monsters.
Fags is trying to claim there's a second muscle in there somewhere.
It might be.
So they are running a bit of an infirmary underneath. Once Berry popped his shoulder, and then Dunkley was heading down underneath, and Lohman was heading down underneath. So there's an accumulated toll, which we know across 4 weeks of a final series. They managed it last year. They're going to have to do that again. Dunkley's in a moon boot at the moment, but there's a difference between what you have to manage during the week to get there, and grand final week is full of those stories versus the ones who are actually on the brink of can they play or not.
There's probably 10 of those, and the fact that they're not trying to hide that would suggest that's not an issue in the world and that Josh will be fine. So, no, there'll be all the stories through the week, but it'll all be surrounded. I don't think they'd risk Berry popping a shoulder out, particularly if they play Neale. But, that'll occupy our minds throughout the week.
The Geelong side of things, separate to Patrick Dangerfield?
Gave up the first 3 goals of the game and were really un-Geelong-like. Like, they turned the footy over. Like, they just kept giving the footy back. And this is a side that we've just watched over the years. So they never do that. And then it just was like the rust came out of it, and Patrick said to the rest of them, look, I'll get us started, and just went bang. And then from then on, they went crazy. They did a number through the middle of the ground, and they were just unstoppable through the middle. And the centre square stuff was crazy. The clearances, goals from clear, was just off the chart. So they're in rude health. They're in rude health. I mean, they also, while they were losing those, while they didn't have a grip on the game, they'd lost Henry and they'd lost Stewart. So if any side had an excuse for being 6 goals down, it would have been them. But they gathered themselves on the back of that man, Dangerfield, and then I thought Bailey Smith was superb as well. Yep. I thought he was absolutely magnificent through the night. I thought Holmes got busy again, and then Myers got busy. Blitzarves, who I keep saying is the most versatile player that's ever played the game, was unbelievable. So no, they tick every single box. If you're a Geelong fan, you can't want for much more. And it was interesting because Chris Scott doesn't give much away, but the question was, is this as well prepared as ever? He said, yep. Probably are.
And the one rider to that is Tom Stewart, the stalwart of their defence and the long-term vice-captain. He misses through concussion. Now, so there's the individual heartache of that, and he will join a list of players who misses grand finals through injury. And then there is the industry-wide debate, which sparked immediately and drew a passionate response from you. Is this the reason why the bye should be before the grand final?
Yeah, I thought we'd come a long way as an organisation and as a media group, and maybe past players fall into this as well, as conceding that we can't have the Seedsmans and the Nigel Callets of the world, all these horrific stories that are emerging, and not pay the attention we need to. And in the end, we're trying to make an excuse to get a player up to play because he's had his brain injured. It's unfathomable for me that that's the line that we're taking. That one of the reporters said this is a nightmare scenario for the AFL. No, it's not. What, any more of a nightmare than Berry doing his shoulder or Pendlebury doing his calf? That's a bigger nightmare because it's a brain injury. That's what I'd say. And in fact, it's an endorsement from the AFL. I'm saying to the AFL, well done, because you've put in place a system that protects us from trying to rush him back either onto the ground during the game or next week because it's a grand final. And he's not missing because he's got a runny nose, which was what the sentiment was after the game. Oh, the nightmare, he's going to miss because of this bias. No, he's got a brain injury. That's why. And I'm absolutely shattered for Tom Stewart. I love the way he's everything that's great about the game. But this has been happening forever. Players have been injured and suspended forever on grand final eve, and they've missed, and we feel sorry for them. But it is an injury, and he mightn't play for 6 weeks.
Yes.
That's the bottom line here.
So there is the average